Good evening, everyone. It's so wonderful to see you all here in this fabulous building. We are very grateful for such a beautiful venue. My name is Veronica Murphy. I'm the artistic director of Write Out Loud, and Write Out Loud is the organization that puts together Read, Imagine, Create. And I was just thinking a moment ago, this is our 12th year. And that is due in great part to the many teachers that have embraced this program and made it a part of their curriculum and offered it to their students. So I'm very excited about the work that you're going to see tonight. It's just so exciting to celebrate these really creative young people. And I want to tell you, I was with the visual art judges, but have had conversations with all the other judges. It's not us. We don't judge. We have professionals from every field that do the judging. And when I was with the visual art judges, they were all saying, "Oh, these are so amazing. I just wish I could talk to every one of these kids." And they were talking not only about the children that you're going to see here tonight, but all of the people who created. We had about 600 entries. 400 of them were visual art. And so anyway, what you're going to see tonight is just a tip of the amazing creativity that is amongst us in our homes and in our neighborhoods. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce my partner in all things, the executive director of Write Out Loud, Walter Ritter.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome you most sincerely to tonight's Read, Imagine, Create event, awards event. I want to thank the San Diego Public Library and particularly Emily Derry for providing this venue for us to celebrate all these talented students who made their submissions to Read, Imagine, Create this year. Also, the County of San Diego, supervisors and neighborhood of the reinvestment funds directed by District 1 Supervisor Nora Roberts and District 2 Supervisor Joel Anderson, and the San Diego City Schools Community Service Association, who helped provide copies of The Bear by Andrew Krivak to 3,300 students throughout San Diego County. I invite you, in addition to all the artwork that you're going to see this evening, to see even more of these submissions that are on view now at the Mission Valley Library, the El Cajon Library in April, and the University Community Branch of the City System in the month of May. So let's get underway now and recognize what these kids have done. Sooner or later.
Special recognition in literary art. Eternal Flame, a poem by Elizabeth Hoffman from Bonita Vista Middle School. Her eyes like a burning candle. The world around her was just too much for her to handle. She grasped on to what she had left, or who had left her. His memory burned through her soul. Thoughts of the good times only created a hole in a heart that had taken so long to mold. But that was now empty, empty, alone. That's all this world had shown her since he was gone. Regret and pain and aching, each winter night stole the breath from her lungs. When morning came, she was only reminded of how she was left defended so young. As she took her last breath, her entire world fading around her, she realized that all she had been was a dead man's daughter. She didn't realize it until it was too late. That fire that she thought was gone did not ever fade. It was hiding in the shade, but it was still there, still there. Even though she thought her world had collapsed, when it seemed that she would never be the same, perhaps she just needed someone to guide her through the fire and bring out her own flame, to uncover the deep waters that buried all of her shame. And even though she didn't always feel her best, she felt comfort right before her eternal rest. And it all started with a bear, an eagle with some fish to share, a puma saving her life. But despite her grief cut through her like a knife, there were so many souls who had seen something else, a fire, a lit candle. It was she that the world could not handle.
We had a tie for third place for literary arts. And so this is one of those pieces that tied. This is The Final Journey by Adam Jamovic from the Rhodes School. And Adam, are you here? He's not. Okay. No problem. Congratulations, Adam. Sorry you're not here, but we all get to enjoy your epic poem. There were only two left, just two, completely alone. All the others were gone for reasons unknown. A girl and her father, the last of their kind to survive, they needed their wits and their minds. The girl's mother had died after she gave birth, making her the last human mother on earth. The father buried her beneath a stone on a mountain that stands alone. From there, they left on a journey to the ocean, a trip that would be full of danger and emotion. On the way, they passed by an old village, or at least what was left. And the girl and her father committed what could only be called theft. Well, not strictly theft, for they just stumbled upon pieces of value among walls that were crumbled. After committing this crime, a so-called terrible sin, they came upon a stream and the father waded in. The girl stayed at the top of the ledge, watching with her bow, making sure her father was safe down below. But it was so dark, the daughter could not see from land when a mysterious animal bit her father's hand. As they continued their journey, the father gave the injury no care, but once they reached the ocean, his hand was beyond repair. Now, one could say his inaction was quite idiotic, but it wasn't like they had antibiotics. Once they reached the sea, things only got worse. Maybe her father was under a curse. One morning, deep in torment, he took his last breath. Yes, the bite of that animal triggered his death. Racked with rage and sorrow and feelings she didn't understand, the girl burned her father right there on the sand. After this painful act for which she had to be so strong, she fell asleep on the sand for so very, very long. Then after her slumber, she was stirred from despair by, yup, you guessed it, a very large bear. This bear had one mission, one sole and sacred aim, to get the girl back to her cabin safely before winter came. This he explained to her as soon as they met. He tried to be calm so that she wouldn't fret. So they set out, heading north, south, east, and west, hoping her strength would stand up to the test. With the girl's compass, they made no mistakes as they hiked past mountains, rivers, and lakes. To survive in the vast wilderness where anything can occur, she relied on everything her father had taught her. How to make shelter, how to fish, how to hunt. Yes, he knew these were challenges she'd have to confront. After weeks on end of being fearless and brave, the bear led her to what they had long sought, a cave. And after many days of hiking, impossible to number, the bear fell asleep into a deep slumber. The girl then decided to leave the cave and the bear asleep in their dark lair. He wasn't aware. After 3 days, she came across a frozen lake. She wanted to test the ice, but could afford no mistake. Alas, she plunged through the ice and thought she would be no more, but a puma dove in and dragged her ashore. Of this daring rescue, though, she was unaware, for she awoke between the puma and the bear. Of her timely rescue, the puma was quite shy, and due to the lack of time, never really explained why. What it did offer was a message of great urgency. Yes, almost as if there was an emergency. She needed to journey home with the bear, but only after winter time. There were paths to be hiked and mountains to climb. She and the bear would need to be bold because their journey would need to be told to the next generation of bears. For if not, there would only be distress and despair. So after months of much hunger and pain, as the bear slept and the girl searched for game, the bear finally awoke confused. As the girl discovered, it took some time for the creature to recover. But once he was fine, they started the journey back home. For hours and days at a time they would roam. They pressed onwards for many phases of the moon, as though to fatigue they were immune. Though they feared at times they were hopelessly lost, they arrived finally at the river once already crossed. The time came to say their farewells and goodbyes, and although no mention was made, I think tears shone in their eyes. When the girl arrived home, one last challenge she faced: to bury her father next to her mother's resting place. After witnessing this burden of sweat and tears, we readers focus on her few final years. Her end comes one autumn night, as the last flicker fades of humanity's light. A bear lays her to rest next to those who celebrated her birth, and so humanity leaves this earth.
Next, we're going to see an excerpt for the piece that has taken Tide for third place in media art, The Bear, a Minecraft interpretation by Colvin Davis. Colvin is a homeschool student. Colvin, are you here? If so, please come up.
For second place in literary arts, an excerpt from Hidden Stories by Charlotte Capaldi from the Rhodes School. Charlotte, if you're here, please come forward afterward. Everything has a voice.
The girl watched her father, who was sitting at the edge of her bed. He was holding a book in his hand, reading it silently to himself while he sat with her. She had been sick for the past few days, and he had been taking care of her. "Tell me a story," she said, "about my mother." She knew he wanted to talk, but she knew he wanted to talk, and she wanted to listen, but she didn't want to push him.
Okay, he said. I remember when she was sick after giving birth to you. She told me every morning that we were going to get through this together. She said that as long as you were there to keep me company, you and I would be okay. One morning, the day before she passed, she told me a story.
Was she a good storyteller?
Yes. She told me that when she was traveling with her father and brother, they found a cave. They stayed in the cave for a few days because a storm needed to pass. Before the rain began, she would sit with her brother and watch the wind gently rock the trees.
The girl watched him as he wiped tears from his eyes. Do you miss her a lot?
Every day. She said that one night a slight drizzle began. Her father started a fire, sheltering it from the wind using a simple lean-to built out of tree branches. The fire flickered, giving the cave a warm glow. Her brother heard a rustling noise inside, next to the bushes near the cave.
Was it a deer?
No. She and her brother backed up deeper into the cave, closer to their father. The noises grew louder until from a corner of the cave, a bear walked out. It had brown fur, damp from the drizzle. On its shoulders sat a hawk.
Like the birds that fly among the trees during the morning.
Yes, this hawk had brown, yellow, and white feathers with a bright red tail.
A red-tailed hawk? The girl asked him. She had read about them in the books that her father kept for her.
Yes, I think it must have been. She said they looked as if they were brothers, even though they were so different. They stared at the group of 3 strangers that were so far away from home. The hawk let out a light screech, making her father and brother jump, but she said she wasn't scared. She swore she thought she heard the bird say hello.
But animals can't talk.
Your mother thought that they could. She thought that they could talk to certain people.
Are you one of those people?
I don't think I am. Your mother always said that the people who understand the plants and the animals have a special connection with nature.
She closed her eyes, beginning to drift to sleep. Do I have that connection? She said, her voice barely a whisper.
I think you do, said the man. He leaned forward and brushed her hair back from her forehead. Good night, he said.
Good night, she said.
He got up and laid on his bed.
She heard the rain beating down on the roof. For a moment, she thought she heard the voice of the rain whispering to her, telling her to go to sleep. Why read?
Books keep you company in the darkest times. The man sat at the table that he and the girl had made out of an old oak tree as he helped her with one of her lessons.
Why do I have to learn how to read and write?
He could tell she was tired and didn't want to do any more work for the day. Reading and writing are forms of art, the man responded. It is important you learn some of the life skills from the past.
But I will never need to use these books, the girl said. She frowned and looked at the book below her.
One day, you will appreciate the gift of being able to read and write. After your mother died, there were many nights when I felt alone. There were 2 things that got me through that loneliness.
What were they? The girl asked, happy to be doing anything but her lesson.
Well, one of the things was you and the promise I made to your mother to keep you safe. The other thing was my ability to read. I could drown my sorrows in books.
They were an escape? She asked, curious about how a piece of paper with words on it helped her father with his emotions.
They put everything into perspective. They reminded me that there's more to life than what is in front of me, and that I'm not alone. Yes, they were an escape from the real world, but they also kept me company.
One day, when I'm alone, do you think books will be my escape too?
Oh, yes. Books are good company, especially when there is no one else to talk to.
Is that why you've kept so many books? The girl glanced behind her at the rows of books lined on shelves on the back wall of the cabin.
In a way, some of them also speak to what the world was like before, when it was full of people. Many of them were your mother's. They keep me connected to her, too.
Do you read them a lot?
I used to read them more than I do now, but I try to read every day.
She looked back at the book, smiling now.
Do you want to go back to the lesson? He asked her.
Yes, she said.
The man smiled and they began once more. Do you strike now?
Is Charlotte here? She's on the field trip. Well, first of all, I wanted to say, just before we began, our fabulous magical media tech fellow came up to me and said there's some sort of short and their screen is going in and out. So I'm afraid we're all just going to have to live with that. My apologies. It's in the electronics that we all so rely on. Our next presentation is, where is it? Oh, this is the second prize in performance. It is called The Sound of Nature by Kevin Yang. Close, maybe, to the pronunciation. He's from Stanley Middle School. And it will just take us a few minutes to get set up here. Oh, while they're setting up, I have a horrible confession to make. The first, second, and third prize winners actually get a cash award, but in my crazy, hectic day today, I forgot to write the checks. So, you will be receiving your certificate, but your check will not be in there, and I will be mailing them to you. And if your submission form has indecipherable address, I will find another way to reach you. It is very difficult to enable you to see all the amazing visual art, so we will be providing images of some of that. This is the section where we honor all of the students who have been acknowledged for special recognition by our judges in the category of visual art. And to begin that, we will begin with Julian's creation. Where is it? Oh my gosh. Julian, I forgot your last name and I didn't write it down. But Julian has created some gowns that she designed and sewed by hand, not by hand, but she's made herself. I'm a costume designer, so I know that she did make them. Her name is Tajadi, Julian Tajadi. So she's going to come out and lead the lovely ladies that are representing. This is Julian. First of all, you have her representation of the young girl in the story. And secondly, you have her representation of the bear. And thirdly, her representation of the night sky.
The students who have received special recognition in visual art are Pedro Arce, Linda Berrigan, Jake Carey, Mia Casillas, Hojum Choi, Nakia Farrington, Lana Ferry, Kenna Frisk, Genevieve Garcia, Flora Garcia, Garji Gupta, Ruben Hernandez, Landra Kamsati, Satya Kuzinski, Natalie Le, Tiffany Liao, Kyrie Lombardo, Evan Lures, Ian Maciazerna, Alfredo Marquez, Isabelia Marquez, Leonardo Moreno, Jessica Padron, Angelique Pedro, Keone Person, Agnes Putavalil, Iris Reese, Anne Rintal, Tyler Rivera, Nella Sack, Lydia Shenvi, Leonardo Silva, Jaden Sloan, Thomas Smith, Amy Tabago, Ayana Tachiki, Samantha Valverde, Madison Ward, Isabella Wilches, and Kadia Chalia Zug. Would all of you that are here please come forward?
Sorry, just a little confusion. Now we're going to give the cash prize winners, first, second, and third place, for visual art. And we're going to begin with the third place winner, Johnny Cavelas. This is the third prize. Johnny made a bow and arrow. The quiver was made of a palm leaf, and it was all tied, and he made arrows, and they all had these beautiful feathers on them. Oh, did we get to see that? There it is. The second prize in, wait a minute. Oh, the second prize in visual art is a piece called The Forest in the Mountain. It is done by Brianna Bell from Rancho Del Rey Middle School. Is that? Zia Mora, are you here? Perhaps you could come and get her award. And our first place winner is from Stanley Middle School. The piece is called The Calm Forest, and it's by Subaru Hiramoto. So I just have to tell you, you probably can't see it, but that bear has a fish in his mouth. And this is the only entry we got that depicted the forest in the winter. I just thought it was pretty great. But I'm not the judge.
This is a special recognition for literary arts, Seasons of Hope by Maren Gill from Marshall Middle School. The wind blew strong, the trees shake and leaves fall, but I am steady, for the roots of my mentor hold me in place. But the wind blows stronger than the roots can hold, and I find those roots gone. Now I'm alone. My own leaves shake and fall, but I remember that my own roots are not yet gone, and they have grown stronger. I can hold myself steady, and I do. Now winter is over, and I know I will live on as the only tree left standing.
Third place winner in media arts, a piece titled Moon Bear Dreams by Tajani Bryant from James Madison High School. Tajani, are you here? Please come forward. Yes. I'm sorry, I guess I was mistaken. We will get it to him.
Every year, it is my great pleasure and very difficult task to give an award called the Artistic Director's Choice Award, and this is a cash award like the first, second, and third place. What that means is I have had my eyes on every single piece of literature, every single piece of visual art, every single piece of performance, every single piece of media, and this year with our new category, every piece of experience. And out of all of those, it's always something different that catches my eye. And this piece is a visual art piece. It came, in one of those weeks when we were collecting things, and it just stood out to me with the precision of the cutting. And in a minute, we're going to get to see it. It is by Uziel Meiha from James Madison High School, and it is called The Path. And what you really cannot see in this image is that every single tree and the bird and the bear mountain in the back and the cat, every single is a different piece of leather, all cut and layered to create this image. So this is the artistic director's choice. Uziel, are you here? I think not, but we will make sure it gets properly delivered.
The Arts, an excerpt from A Bear with No Name by Leif Peters Barnes from the Rhodes School. Leif, if you're here, please come forward afterward. She's the last person on earth. She refuses to eat, overcome by grief. Then one day, a bear wanders in, but she already knows who it is. A spirit of her mother coming to guide her. They eat together for days at last. With the flag at half-mast, they carry on. But after some time, the bear must sleep, and the girl is left alone once again. As she perseveres, traveling and hunting alone, time passes, and the bear wakes up from its slumber. After some time of traveling, the girl is back home, and the bear and the girl must part ways. She hikes up the mountain, knowing what she's going to do. She lifts the rock and buries her dad, next to her mom in the same old hole. She rests in the grass, dampened by the morning dew, and lays there, slowly becoming part of the earth. The bear finds her and takes her up high and rests the girl with her parents, where there is peace.
Is Leif here? Alrighty. Next, in a tie for third place in Media Arts, is Burnt to Ashes by Nicole Schneider of Stanley Middle School. Are you here, Nicole? Singer and musician Megan Carmichael will be performing the third prize performance art piece titled Nature's Dance by Bianca Vazzali of Stanley Middle School.
Cautionary tale of human fragility, of love and loss, a stunning tribute to nature's beauty. It's the story of a girl and her father surviving on the other side of the mountain. The father teaches how to survive on days like this, on days like this. But one day when her father went away, all alone she stayed, burning the ashes of which remain. When the girl finds herself alone, it is the bear who leads her home to the mountain who stands alone. But when the girl finds herself alone, it is the animals who help her along the way back to the mountain who stands all alone. It's the story of a girl and her father surviving on the side of the mountain. La 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 la. The father teaches how to survive on days like this, on days like this. But then one day her father went away, so alone she stayed, burning all of the ashes which remained. Oh wow! When the girl finds herself alone, it is the bear who leads her home back to the mountain who stands alone. But when the girl finds herself alone, it is the animals who help along the way back to the mountain who stands alone. La 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 la. It's the story of a girl and her father living on the side of a mountain. But one day her father went away, so alone she stayed, burning the ashes of which remain. Oh, when she finds herself alone, it is the animals who help along the way back to the mountain who stand alone.
Okay, so I'm a former dancer, so I have a real soft spot for this one, but I want you to know that Bianca not only choreographed and danced, but she also wrote the music and the song. think it's my turn again, just a minute. Yes. So, we have a new category this year. It is called Experience, because this book had so many experiences that the father and the daughter shared together. So we had some young students who tackled this challenge, and we would like to present the awards. The third prize in Experience is for Rian Pital. Salt is a part of life, and Rian actually tried to make salt. Are you here? Yes, please. Our, our second prize in Experience goes to Shauna Stefanko for her apple mint tea creation. And our first prize winner didn't create one thing, she created two. First of all, her name is Shiloh Larson. Her piece is titled, Come to Me to Make Fish and Sassafras Tea.
The second prize in media arts, titled How to Say Goodbye by Celine Wu of Thurgood Marshall Middle School, is coming up next. Yes. The third place tie in literature, The Bear, A Better Ending by Colvin Davis, is going to be read now. Oh. We did.
Yes.
Sorry, folks, my mistake.
You can wait there, it'll be just a minute.
The Special Recognition Media Arts invites the following students: Jamie Aharoni, Sebastian Baron Acosta, Maria Fries, Andindita Nigam, Allison Spencer, Isabella Wilches. Please all come forward.
So, is it Jamie? Jimmy Caharoni? Sebastian? Yes? Sebastian's piece was very memorable because he filmed it as if he was a bear wandering the forest. Maria Fries? Maria Fries? Anandita? Yes? Those are beautiful. Allison? Beautiful dresses. This is wonderful. And Isabella again.
And now we will have a reading of the aforementioned How to Say Goodbye. No, sorry. I've blown it. Oh, yes, that is the one. I'm going to bow out now.
This is a third place tie for literary art. This is an excerpt from a piece called The Bear, A Better Ending by Colvin Davis. Colvin, I know you're here, so at the end of the reading, will you please come up to receive your certificate for this? It was her 5th solstice alone when it happened. She was on the top of the mountain, sitting on the stone next to the graves, when she heard the thumping sound of approaching footsteps. The girl jumped up in fear, grabbing her new bow she made and loading it with an arrow. From behind a boulder, a bear approached. It was younger than the talking bear from the journey home, but still fully grown. The bear stared her right in the eye, and she stared back. The girl saw something in the bear's eyes, a neon radiant glow, unlike any other bear she had ever seen, other than the talking bear. Bow still drawn, she crept slowly over to the bear. She knew it was a reckless idea, but a feeling deep inside her told her it was safe.
You can put down the bow. Everything is fine, the bear said.
Startled, she hesitantly set down her bow and arrow. It took her a while to speak because of how nervous she was, but she eventually got out a few words. Who are you?
I am the son of the bear who aided your journey home, and I am here to help you.
Where is your father?
He died last winter.
I'm sorry to hear that. He was a very noble bear. The two sat there quietly for a while.
Finally, the bear broke the silence. My father once told me a story that could be of great help to you. It's been passed down 5 generations of my family and was told to me by my father. Would you like to hear the story?
I've been isolated for 5 years. I would love a story.
Okay, then. Here's how it goes. My great grandfather was an explorer and a cartographer. I was told that in his travels he found an island where other humans like you lived. It was described as a lush green island with villages and even some small towns. The island was called Emerald Coast Island. My great-grandfather washed up on its shores after being shipwrecked on a long journey at sea. He was barely alive when he was found by one of the local inhabitants, and the whole village aided in his recovery. So he soon regained his health. At first, the people of the island were skeptical of the bear staying on their island, but after a time, they got used to the massive furry animal living among them. The bear started helping them out with tasks like moving giant boulders out of paths or catching substantial amounts of fish to keep the villagers fed. The bear eventually decided to return home, so he crafted a new boat and sailed away. The people on the island were sad to see him leave, but the bear promised that he would be back someday to repay them for their kindness to him. He never returned because he died a few months after arriving home. I told you all the details of the story as my father told them to me. Although some details may have been changed over time, I still believe it to be true. Before my father died, the last thing he told me was to travel here and help you find the island. I traveled here to ask if you would be willing to journey to the island. If there are still people living on the island, and if they're as kind and welcoming as my father told me, they would probably let you live with them. You could make new friends, grow up and have a family, and never be lonely again. As for me, I wouldn't stay on the island since I am a bear. I live in the wild, so I would have to sail back home to my homeland here.
I'm very thankful for your offer, Bear, but if I lived on an island, I wouldn't be able to visit my parents' graves. It has always been an important ritual for me to visit the graves of my parents every summer solstice. It is the only connection with them I still have.
I will visit them for you. Every summer solstice, I will travel up this mountain and visit the graves. I know it will be hard on you, but I think this will be for the best. What's the worst thing that could happen?
The girl knew full well that terrible things are lurking around every corner when traveling through unknown lands. But she really didn't have anything to lose. She was bored of wandering the forests and was getting more eager for adventure by the day. I suppose taking this journey will be for my own benefit, and I don't have anything to lose. If something goes wrong, I could always come back here. So, I'm going.
They both spent the rest of the day resting up for the tiring journey to come.
And Colvin, please come up to get your certificates.
Journey to the Mountain by Cameron White is the first prize performance art winner. Cameron is in Rancho del Rey Middle School.
It's morning, and I wake up. I go and get my father's bones to bury on the mountain alone. I was going to go on my own, but before I went, I met this bear who says that he would take me there. But to make it safe, we had to go before we see the snow. We walked into the forest for a while, so we had to find a place to stop. We came across a river until we saw the winter sky, and the bear knew we can fly by. He said it was too late, we had to wait. So he finds a cave and he hibernates and says, don't go into the snow, you'll be lost and have nowhere to go. It's now spring and he wakes up. We grabbed the bones and headed up to the mountain that stands alone. We got there, I climbed it until I got a chance to sit. I buried my father's bones right next to my mother's stones, and there I stayed each passing day until I passed away.
Kindled by Rosemary Lehovich from Stanley Middle School. It happened when teeth bit down on everything, when memories rose up around me, when flames were smothered into loneliness. It started when he ventured into the shadows, when a bite quenched the flames, when I was a second too late. It continued when waves lapped at our boat, when we finished what we had started, when I saw the whole world. It crumbled when fate woke me, when his breathing slowed, when the flames snuffed out. It dissolved when the world flooded, when I drowned in desperation, when howls pierced the mountains. It started when I caught a whiff of fish, when my companion found me, when the bear kindled the flames.
First prize in media art, The Girl and the Gander by Sylvia Davis, a homeschool student.
There I was, picking blueberries for a blueberry pie when a family of geese crossed the lake. The gander ran up to me and bit my arm. I kicked it away, but the bite still hurt. When I got home, I told my dad about the attack. My dad wrapped up my wound and sent me to bed.
About a week later, I came back to kill the geese with my bow. When I did, I felt a little bad for them. That night, we had goose meat and corn for dinner. The goose tasted gross. My dad understood and brought dessert out right away. The blueberry pie was delicious, maybe even worth getting bitten for.
Do you hear? Oh, yes, there you are. Let's see. Do we do literary awards again? Would the following students please come forward? Jamie Aharoni, Jolie Barnes, Marin Gill, Elizabeth Hoffman, Rosemary Lahovich, Dylan Murray, Zoe Chiambo, Alex Ruano Gavino, Sammy Sternson, Kino Zeller. That is all.
Place for literary arts. It is an excerpt from The Man by Jed Lee from Francis Parker School. A little bit of context for this excerpt. In this short story that imagines the man and woman's experience coming to the mountain that stands alone, the couple has fallen ill with a mysterious sickness and are asleep in their cabin. The woman woke to the warm touch of bear fur. She sat up with a start. Curled around her was a huge brown bear. It was snoring gently. Its body was big enough to act as a warm blanket for both of them, although the warmth did nothing for the chills and the sweating. She had a faint recollection of the man sitting down in the cave and falling asleep with her. They had both gotten sick from the unknown virus, and she was doubly weak from the pregnancy, lacking the strength to move or think anymore. She lay her head on the bear and dozed into a fitful sleep.
The couple did not wake for several days anymore. When the man finally woke, his first thought was that he felt much better. The pale complexion was gone, the shivering had stopped, and the perpetual stomachache had faded away. His eyes fell on a dead rabbit lying limp in the corner of the cave, obviously freshly killed. His empty stomach couldn't muster the strength to rumble at the sight of it, but his mind was keener than before, and he wondered how the rabbit had got there. As he stood there puzzled, the bear padded inside. The man stood frozen from shock and fear. As his wife had noted, the bear was immense, towering over the man. After meeting the man's gaze with his deep black eyes, the bear sat down heavily with a huff. His breath smelled of freshly caught fish, although the rivers had been frozen solid for days. The smell wasn't unpleasant. Belatedly, the man tried to turn and reach for the bow and arrow on the ledge, but he pulled his hand back, realizing that the arrow wouldn't hurt the bear anyways. It was a mark of how much willpower had been sucked from the man by the cruel circumstances that he didn't even try to shoot. Just then, the bear spoke. "Can you make a fire for the rabbit?" The low bass tones of his voice thrummed with every rumble and syllable that emerged from the huge fanged mouth. The man complied without thinking, mechanically gathering up the pile of brush and limbs and lighting it with a flint. The rabbit he skinned quickly and set to cook on the grate over the fire. When he was done, the bear had gone. As the man pondered the likelihood of him going delirious and imagining talking bears, the bear lumbered back in with a fox in its claws. "Are you feeling well enough to eat?" the bear asked. As the man nodded in surprise, he asked, "How is it you can talk to me?" The bear shook his massive head gently as he corrected the man. "How is it that you can hear me? All animals of nature talk. It is only those few who have attuned themselves with nature that hear us speak. You and your wife," he indicated the sleeping woman with a wave of his paw, "are obviously one of those few." Having finished absorbing the imports of the bear's explanation, the man sat down next to the grilled rabbit and sliced away hot pieces of tender rabbit meat. He offered some to the bear, but the animal declined. "I've had my fill." After the man set aside a small plate of rabbit meat for his wife, he began devouring the fresh rabbit. When he finished, he leaned back against the wall, the headache back again. Reminded of his wife's critical condition, the man hurriedly moved over to her supine form, huddled under the blankets. Perhaps it was only a figment of the man's imagination, but he thought her fever had gotten worse, if that's even possible. Her forehead was like a bed of hot coals, and her chest rose and fell rapidly in shallow breaths. The man couldn't imagine the pain that his wife was going through. As he examined his wife, the man felt a gentle touch on his shoulder. "Best to let her rest," the bear said gently. "We don't want to disturb her. Only she herself has the strength to conquer the virus." The man reluctantly moved away. He asked the bear, "What is this virus? It has attacked all the wildlife in this entire mountain range. How has it spread so quickly?" The bear sighed, if a bear can ever be said to sigh, and answered the man's question. "You know that male bears will only roam the land and never settle down. I was further south when the epidemic struck. Most of the animals just fell dead within a few days. From what I gather, the only way to survive the virus is through sheer luck and natural immunity. It's been a few days now, and you look considerably better."
Is Jed Lee here?
Well, I hope you enjoyed all of this fabulous creation made by these wonderful young people. We'd like to thank you for joining us here this evening. We'd like to thank you for the support you've given your students. We'd like to thank the teachers who are here. We also want you to know that, as I said, this is the 12th year of Read, Imagine, Create, and many students participate through the classroom teacher and the curriculum, but that is not a requirement. An independent student from any part of the county can participate. All you have to do is contact us, and we will give you the book that's provided by our many funders, and we will keep you included in all of the activities. We also provide workshops, writing and visual art workshops. So just think about that for next year. Our literature will be the Greek myths, and we will be distributing copies of collections. So we hope that you will consider participating in Read, Imagine, Create again. And the information for that will be on our website sometime in June, once we know exactly where the funding is coming from and what we're going to be able to do. So again, we thank you so much, and I hope that you will all join me in giving another wonderful round of applause, not only to our students, but also to our readers, Rachel Van Warmer and Chip Person. And also to Megan Carmichael, who took Bianca's song and the music that she provided and created it on the piano so that Bianca could focus on her dance. Thank you all so very much. I hope you all validated your parking, and have a wonderful spring and summer and beyond.